Russell Westbrook was once known as the most polarizing player in the entire NBA not too long ago. Russ was notorious for his intensity and ability to carry a team single-handedly to a win. He also perhaps notched one of the best statistical regular seasons of all time in 2017, where he literally averaged 31.6 points per game, 10.7 rebounds per game, and 10.4 assists per game. That's a 30-point triple-double for the entire season. And last season with the Wizards, Beastbrook also put up awesome numbers of 22.2 points per game, 11.5 rebounds per game, and led the league in assists with 11.7 assists per game, which was a career high in assists for Russ. After getting traded to the Lakers, almost everyone thought Russell Westbrook and the Lakers would win the championship, but that hasn't been the case. This 2022 season, Russell Westbrook had one of the worst statistical seasons in not only his career, but also in league history, and is being flamed by NBA fans everywhere. How did Russell Westbrook go from a star player last season to being the scapegoat for the Lakers' struggles this year? What happened to Russell Westbrook? In today's video, I'm going to answer this question and show you exactly why Russell Westbrook is having a terrible season with the Lakers. To clarify, I don't hate Westbrook or any other player. I'm just going to answer this question using statistics with no biased opinions. But before we dive into the video, I'm Hoops Expert and welcome to my channel. If you could leave a like, comment, and subscribe, that mean the world to me. Thank you, and let's get started. First, let's take a look at Russell Westbrook's season with the Lakers statistically. I'm going to show you why Russell Westbrook had a terrible season. Russ in the 2021 and 2022 season put up numbers of 18.5 points per game, 7.4 rebounds per game, and 7.1 assists per game. Now you might be saying, Hoops Expert, what are you talking about? These numbers look all-star worthy. Although these numbers look solid to the blind eye, let's take a deeper look at them and show why it's one of the worst seasons ever in NBA history. So how did I come to this conclusion? First of all, I did not want to include role players in my research. There are different expectations for role players, and someone struggling in 20 minutes per game is not the same as Westbrook struggling in his 34.3 minutes per game. I wanted to find players similar to Russ, players who demanded the ball, players who had high usage rates, meaning their poor play was not just impacting them, but having the maximum negative impact they could have on their team. Westbrook averaged 34.3 minutes this season and had a usage rate of 27.2%. These are the parameters I'm going to be using. Everyone in this search must play at least 32 minutes per game and have a minimum usage rate of 27%. I then filtered the results to box plus minus, which is a reliable stat for ranking players. For instance, this season, the top 3 players in the NBA for box plus minus are Nikola Jokic, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Joel Embiid, the 3 frontrunners for MVP. I think this qualifies as a legit metric to rank seasons by. Anyways, Russell Westbrook had a box plus minus of negative 1.6, which ranks him the 659th spot out of 673 total available search results, which gives him the 14th worst season ever with these 2 parameters of 32 plus minutes per game and a usage rate of 27+%. That's nothing Westbrook should be proud of. Now, let's take a look at Westbrook's play on the court and determine what's wrong. I found 5 reasons why Westbrook has had a bad season with the Lakers. The first reason is Russell Westbrook is turning the ball over more than ever now. Russ has always had the reputation of being a reckless player, but his explosive athleticism and will to win would overcome that flaw. This isn't the case anymore, however, and couple that with the fact that Westbrook is unfathomably turning the ball over more than he ever has in his career, you have a clearer picture of just why Russell Westbrook is struggling a lot right now. Of players that play at least 30 minutes a game, Russell Westbrook has an 8th highest turnover rate this season with 17.3%. What this means is Russ is turning over the ball on 17.3% of his possessions. This is also the 3rd lowest percentage in his career thus far. The second reason is Westbrook is not getting to the foul line like he's used to. When Westbrook won his MVP in 2017, he had a free throw rate of 0.43%, which means the number of free throw attempts a player has per field goal attempts. This season, since defenders aren't struggling to stay in front of Westbrook like they used to, his free throw rate percentage is all the way down to 0.324, the 3rd lowest mark in his career thus far. What makes his stat even worse is when he does get to the line for his 5.4 free throws attempted per game, he only makes 66% of them, which is also the 3rd lowest percentage in his career. The third reason is Russell Westbrook is running more pick and rolls but without success. The Lakers this season have Russell Westbrook running more pick and roll action as a playmaker than he has in the last 4 seasons, with 26.2% of his scoring chances coming from that play type, according to Synergy. Last season, as a member of the Washington Wizards, Westbrook ran the pick and roll just 19.1% of the time. In his final season with the Houston Rockets, that number was 12.4%, in part due to James Harden doing the bulk of the playmaking for the team that year. And in Westbrook's last season with the Oklahoma City Thunder, that mark was 24.7%, still lower than this year, despite Westbrook being that team's only source of offense. What's more intriguing, statistically, Westbrook has never graded out as a great point producer as a pick and roll ball handler. That is the case again this season, with Westbrook scoring just 0.83 PPP from the pick and roll, which ranks Westbrook in the NBA's 47th percentile and a less productive mark than Cameron Payne, who has a .84 PP. The Lakers' plan of forcing Westbrook into a role that he's never truly excelled at just because he's a point guard has not worked out for Frank Vogel and the Lakers. The fourth reason is, in his heyday, Westbrook was an absolute terror in transition, often grabbing the rebound, flying down the court and finishing with rim-rallying dunks that will set the NBA social media world on fire. That hasn't been nearly the case this season, as Westbrook's efficiency in transition opportunities has been nearly awful. According to Synergy Sports, Westbrook has a 0.85 points per possession PPP mark that ranks him in the league's 10th percentile in the poor range. For comparison, players like Reggie Jackson and Patrick Beverley both have a higher PPP with 0.9. With Westbrook no longer able to produce easy buckets on the open floor like he used to, his value has diminished to a substantial extent, and as a result, the Lakers' offense has struggled as a whole in turn. The fifth reason shouldn't come as a surprise. Westbrook's athleticism has diminished and his all-around game has fallen off a cliff. One way we can determine statistically that Westbrook isn't the same level of athlete is that just 33.3% of his field goal attempts are coming from within 3 feet of the basket. That's the 5th lowest mark of his career and down from 41.5% of his field goal attempts coming from that range just 2 seasons ago in 2019-2020. That could also be a byproduct of playing with a player like LeBron James, whose game typically requires that teammate become spot-up shooters when he has the ball, since he's the one doing the playmaking and creating. Kevin Love. Russell Westbrook is having a down year this season, and we all know Westbrook can play better, and I hope he proves everyone wrong, including me, next year. Also, this video seems as if I'm a Russell Westbrook hater, but I'm really not. I was just simply using some statistics to show how parts of his game has dropped off, and I'm sure there are some stats you could use that show he's doing better in parts of his game as well. But regardless, this is overall, statistically, some of the reasons why Russell Westbrook is having a terrible season for the Lakers. Let me know your opinions about this video, and if you think there was something important I didn't mention by commenting. Anyways, that's the end of this video, and thank you so much for watching, and have a good day. Deuces.